Hey gamers, how's it going? Damon What If here. So, as you guys may have noticed, I've been working on the MasakoX's What Iffinity series lately, and quite a few what ifs have come out that have kind of like retconned some stuff I've made in the series so far. Definitely, specifically, the two newest ones, which are what if Goku had a sister, and what if Bardock got Super Saiyan God. Those ones kind of mess with the continuity a bit. So right before I make the full story series, I'm gonna be making this little retcon kind of video, where I retcon certain things that happen in the main series and include the new scenes that are coming in. So basically, this video is gonna be a little bit of bouncing around. I'll make sure to let you guys know when the little new sections take place, and when I edit the full story video, I'll make sure to compile, get rid of the old scenes and add in the new scenes for that. So this is basically just going to be a retcon video adding in some of the newest stuff that's come out. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Guinea is kinda disappointed, but understands why he won't come with her. He doesn't know her that well after all, especially since it's been many years since they last saw each other. But she doesn't want him to go on all these missions and just end up killing himself. She's learned a great deal of martial arts from Gohan, and decides that it'll be a win-win if she goes off and joins Bardock on these missions of his. She gets to show off what she can do, and help him not die. Plus, she gets to know him better. Bardock is reluctant to let her go along with him and his crew, but she ain't taking no for an answer and goes off with him anyway. Over the years, Guinea has become a good member of Bardock's crew, somebody who is very helpful in taking on all of the worlds they traverse through, though she isn't like the typical Saiyan, as she never kills any of her opponents. This gets on Fasha's nerves especially, as she digs into Guinea for never being able to finish the job. But this actually makes Bardock fall for her more than he already had. Guinea is very different from all the other Saiyans. She's kind, pure-hearted, and even though she loves battle, she never kills anybody. It's something so pure, and while he'd never admit it, he loves it about her. Eventually, the two are able to shack up, and she becomes pregnant with their first child, Raditz. Guinea is benched from the action for a bit, but eventually is able to place the baby Raditz into his nursing pod to grow himself. That way she can continue on her missions. She makes sure not to abandon the boy though, and to try to spend as much time with him as she possibly can, since she never wants to abandon him the way that her mother abandoned her. Eventually though, King Vegeta begins to notice that Bardock's crew in particular is growing stronger and stronger by the day. He's nervous that maybe one day they'll overtake him in power. And his son is about to be born, so he can't have him be the weaker Saiyan to these low-class warriors. He sends off one of his elite soldiers, Nappa, to go and watch after the crew, which Nappa proudly accepts. Nappa joins up with Bardock's crew undercover by getting into a relationship with Fasha, and throughout his time with them, he gets very annoyed by the prospect of Guinea sparing her enemies. He lays into her, telling her that she's not a true Saiyan for never killing, and that if she keeps being soft like this, he's going to report her to King Vegeta and have her exiled from the planet. This doesn't make Guinea very happy, and she tells off Nappa to his face, which leads to a brawl between the two. Toma jumps up asking Bardock if they should stop this, but Bardock just shrugs and says not to worry, she'll be able to handle this on her own. Guinea and Nappa continue their fight, with Nappa surprised that he's not able to do any damage to the woman. How is that possible? He explodes into his full power, and he rushes her once again. And this is actually enough to get Guinea to go full power as well. And her full power is way above that of Nappa's. In a rage, she ducks under one of his punches, grabs onto his arm, and swings her way towards his chest, landing a devastating double kick to it, piercing his flesh. Nappa collapsed to the ground in agonizing pain, with Guinea looking at him in disgust. She says that her time with Gohan made her hone in her Saiyan abilities and control them. If she never trained to them, then she definitely would have killed him just now. But thankfully for him, she controlled herself. If he ever tries anything with her again though, he won't be so lucky. Fasha glares daggers at Guinea and grabs Nappa, flying off to go and get him into a nursing pod. Bardock found this whole encounter mad sexy, and he gets her pregnant again with another kid. This time, the daughter of the two, Jocha. Once Nappa is returned, King Vegeta begins to get angrier and angrier. If a Saiyan woman can take out Nappa like this, then it's only a matter of time until he's usurped himself. He's gonna need to go on more missions himself to get more power of his very own. This upsets Raditz a great deal. He's the oldest of his 4 siblings. Since in the time that Guinea has been with Bardock, she's had Jocha and twin babies. One she gave a traditional Saiyan name, Kakarot, and the other she decided to honor her time on Earth and give her daughter a name related to that of Gohan. So she names her daughter Goku. Raditz and Jocha don't really get along too well since they're so close in age and end up fighting quite a bit. He wants to be a little brat and maybe get Jocha out of the picture by having her be taken away, but Guinea is able to find out this little plan of his and kicks the crap out of him for even suggesting it. However, King Vegeta gets another future vision of Jocha. Jocha is a way to get back at Bardock and Guinea, and a way to help in the fight against Frieza. Yes, he needs the girl, so he hires Obito, one of the Saiyan elites, to kidnap her in the night, which he does, and Jocha is taken away. Obito returns her to Vegeta, where he tells her that she's been chosen for a very special mission with other low-class warriors to go and find a new home for the Saiyans. As if his plan fails, then they'll need a new one. She's going to be tasked with Turles' group of Saiyans to go off-world and find a new home. Jocha obviously doesn't want to go and just wants her family back, but Vegeta doesn't care, and she is sent off with Turles' crew anyways. Once Bardock and Guinea find out that Jocha has been kidnapped, they are extremely angered and do everything in their power to find out what happened to her. But since Vegeta covered his tracks pretty good, they really have no chance of finding her. Guinea is devastated, as she failed as a mother. She's just as bad as hers was. But Bardock is able to calm her down and say that no matter what, she's nothing like her own mother. They'll continue to go to other worlds, and maybe they'll be able to find Jocha and bring her home. Bardock is able to calm Guinea down enough, and they continue traveling through other worlds to find Jocha. Eventually, the Saiyan group are tasked with heading off to the planet Cereal. While on Cereal, the Saiyans decimate everything in their path, as they have been before, until this time, both Bardock and Guinea find the Cerealian Mizuli and her young son, Granola. The two realize the innocence of these two and can't bring themselves to end them as the others were, so Guinea makes sure to comfort the two, to let them know that they're not in any danger. Guinea and Bardock hide them away as the other Saiyans leave back to Planet Plant. As they go to hide the two, they're suddenly ambushed by a Namekian, who is promptly stopped in the tracks since he's very weak. The two tell the Namekian that they mean no harm and are just here to hide out the Cerealians. The Namekian introduces himself as Manito, and heals the two up, apologizing for attacking them. As they're getting healed, they notice that in the distance, the Heaters have arrived on the planet, and are ready to sell it off. The two Saiyans are a bit nervous seeing them, as they're power brokers who have all sorts of weird abilities it seems, and they don't want to get in their way. Right as they're about to leave though, Granola wakes up and begins shouting once he sees the Saiyans. Manito is able to put him to sleep right away, but his screams did alert the Heaters, who immediately come into this direction. Bardock and Guinea quickly get into a position where it seems like they're going to kill them to get the Heaters on their good side, but the ploy doesn't work, as Alec, the leader of the Heaters, just tells them to kill the two. Since they hesitate, Alec goes to shoot at Mizuli to kill her, until Guinea steps in the way and deflects the shot right back at Alec, hitting him instead and killing him instantly. The other Heaters gasp in shock, with Gas kneeling down to his fallen brother and then exploding in rage. Gas rushes Guinea, with Bardock jumping in front of her and blocking his blow. Guinea yells out for the others to get out of there, as she runs in to help Bardock. The two battle it out with Gas, with him summoning all sorts of weapons to battle the two. It's a tough bout, with Gas being able to deal really strong damage. But since the two have been training together for many years now, Bardock and Guinea are now way stronger than they were in canon, so are able to put up a much better fight. But not as much when Gas transforms into his berserker state. Guinea is almost beaten to unconsciousness, with Bardock able to barely hang on, but he is eventually able to deal the final blow with a full power spirit cannon, and this is enough to wipe Gas off of the face of Cereal. With Alec and Gas defeated, Mackie and Oil know that they have zero chance against these Saiyans, so run off of the planet to go out and hide. With the Heaters all defeated, Manito heals up the two to the best of his ability, with them apologizing for the whole mess. They offer to take them with them off the Planet Plant, but Manito says that they'll be fine. He has a way of bringing everything back to normal. The two don't ask any more questions and wish the group luck, leaving the planet. As soon as they leave, Monaito takes out his own set of Dragon Balls and wishes for the people of planet Cereal to be returned to life. As soon as everybody is back, he then wishes for Cereal to be teleported far outside of Frieza's radar, that way he'll never be able to find them. After Cereal, Bardock and Guinea continue their search for Jocha, and eventually are sent off to planet Kanasa by King Vegeta, as a part of his plan to take down Frieza, unbeknownst to these Saiyans. Frieza screams out, not believing that the legend is real. He refuses for it to be real. Frieza screams and explodes into his second form. The supernova is dissipated alongside the rest of the beams, with Bardock's crew looking horrified at the might of Frieza. None of them had any idea that he could transform. Bardock pushes him aside, saying that it doesn't matter. He's become the thing that Frieza fears most, the legendary Super Saiyan. He's going to end him right here and right now. Frieza rushes into Bardock, with the two beginning their bout, going blow for blow. Planet Plant shakes over the two's battle, with Bardock's crew struggling to stay in the air. Now, while in canon, Bardock, even as a Super Saiyan, would struggle against second form Frieza. But in this timeline, Bardock has gotten much stronger, so with the 50% Super Saiyan multiplier, he's able to handle second form Frieza. However, that's definitely the most that he can handle, as Frieza is beginning to get even more angry. He blasts Bardock aside and begins his transformation into his third form. Bardock rushes back in to try and stop him, but Frieza, now in his third transformation, catches his fist. Bardock turns for a roundhouse kick to the side of Frieza's head, but Frieza lands a devastating blow on Bardock's chest. Bardock spits blood as Frieza begins to pelt him with countless death beams. Bardock screams out in pain as the death beams flood all over him, with him being slowly pushed back towards Plant. Frieza laughs out, saying that even the mighty Super Saiyan of legend stands no chance against him. Suddenly though, Frieza finds that he's paralyzed. He doesn't understand, as he's suddenly thrown hundreds of feet away. The Supreme Kai flies onto the scene, having intervened and thrown Frieza away to buy some time. The Kai flies over to Bardock, saying that he can't defeat Frieza himself without angering Lord Beerus, but with his help, there's a way that he can defeat Frieza. Bardock has no idea who this guy is or what the hell he's talking about, but since he just saved his life, he might as well listen to him. Shin asks him if he knows the legend of Yamoshi, which Bardock says, of course, every Saiyan knows the legend. Shin smiles and tells him that with his help, he can gain the powers of Yamoshi and defeat Frieza, but he needs to do it fast. Shin motions for Bardock's crew to gather around him, and that they need to hold hands and give Bardock all of their energy. The crew don't know how to feel about this, but Bardock just yells at them to do it, since Frieza will come back at any minute now. Toma, Fasha, Pumbaakin, Totapo, and Leek all join hands and give their energy to Bardock. Bardock is given all of their energy, and begins to rise up into the air, with a red aura surrounding him, and his hair turning the same shade of red. His muscles become slimmer, and the scenery around him changes. He's no longer floating in space, but is floating in a red void. Another entity materializes in front of Bardock, another Saiyan. The Saiyan introduces himself as Yamoshi, the original Super Saiyan God. Yamoshi tells Bardock that he is the only other Saiyan to have achieved this form, and that with this form, he'll be one of the gods themselves one day. For now though, he's going to have to use it to save his planet, though he'll do him a favor, and use his own godly powers to remove the Curse of Foresight from the Saiyan. Once that's complete, Yamoshi tells Bardock that he'll be watching him, and if he ever needs help in the future, he'll be there. The scenery changes once more, and Bardock floats back down. Shin smiles and tells Bardock that he is now the Super Saiyan God, and that with this power, he'll be able to defeat Frieza for good. Shin disappears right as Frieza launches back in, extremely angered, and throws a punch right at Bardock. Bardock effortlessly sidesteps this and backhands Frieza in the face, sending him flying away once again. Bardock follows him this time, and begins his counterattack against the evil Emperor. Frieza isn't able to fight back at all, and has no idea how the Saiyan got so powerful in an instant. He is able to escape from Bardock's grasp, and powers up into his final form, going 100% right from the start. Now of course, this does nothing at all. Every blow he lands on Bardock does nothing at all. Bardock continues to fight back, beating Frieza within an inch of his life, and he throws him up in the air, ready to defeat him once and for all. He fires a godly Buster Cannon right at Frieza, with Frieza being blown out of existence. Bardock sighs as the godly power leaves him, and he reverts back to normal Super Saiyan. He looks at himself and realizes that he did it. Frieza is no more, or so he thinks. As well, Bardock may have defeated Frieza, he isn't dead yet. Meanwhile, on Beerus' planet, Whis notices that there is a new godly energy that's just emerged. He looks into his staff and notices that the Saiyan known as Bardock has become the Super Saiyan God, just as Yamoshi did all those years ago. He chuckles to himself as he knows that Shin must have had something to do with this. And while Beerus would be happy to know that there's another Super Saiyan God in the picture, Shin would be getting a severe talking to. He decides to hide out the existence of the Super Saiyan God from Beerus for now, which should be easy, since he doubts Bardock will be able to get the form again on his own anyways. And plus, he has another Saiyan on his planet who piqued Beerus' interest anyway, the young boy who is sent off to Vampa, who he retrieved to have him train under him, and maybe, just maybe, have this little boy be a potential candidate for the next God of Destruction. He's tried to access the powers of the Super Saiyan God in his time once more, but he hasn't been able to achieve the power again. He even tried to call it to Yamoshi, but he didn't answer him. He's been able to use the regular blonde-haired Super Saiyan form, but without any of that godly energy. Bardock wonders if he'll ever be able to access that power again. Guinea decides that now is the time to kill two birds with one stone. She's somehow lost two children in her time as a mother, both Jocha and Kakarot, so she asks for both of them to be returned to her. Shenron is silent for a moment and says that that wish cannot be granted. The girl, called Jocha, is out in space with other beings like her, and their energies cloud his own, so he will not be able to bring her to Earth. This news makes Guinea both sad but happy at the same time. Jocha is thankfully still alive, and she's with other Saiyans as well. That makes her very happy to hear, and while she may not be here, she's at least still somewhere out there. As for Kakarot, he is currently in the care of the Red Ribbon Army, and the army has attached certain cybernetics to the young boy, which prevents him from being pulled away from the wish as well. However, he is also still alive. From behind the tree, 7 figures step out, Turles and his Crusher Core. Bardock is shocked to see other Saiyans, as he thought most of them were killed by Frieza years ago. He is also shocked to see a Saiyan next to Turles that looks very familiar. Jocha is surprised to see the man in front of her as well. This man, it's her father. Jocha jumps down out from the others and lands in front of her father, punching him right in the arm, smiling, asking what took him so long to find her. Bardock smiles and punches her back, saying he got a little busy defeating Frieza, but he's happy that she's still alive and that they finally found each other again. She introduces Bardock and the crew to the Crusher Corps, with Turles saying that Bardock was a huge inspiration to him when he was little, and he even modeled his hair after him if he couldn't tell. Bardock tells him that he's flattered and asks what they're doing here and if they work for Frieza. Turles explains that him and Jocha were sent out with a group of Saiyans when they were young by King Vegeta. The two were left abandoned by the other Saiyans they were sent with, and the two tried to escape the planet together, but were lost. They were eventually found by the remains of the Heaters, Maki and Oil. The two were terrified at first to see what looked like a young Bardock and Guinea, but they eventually were able to convince them to let them on board. Maki and Oil had been lying about the fact that Alec and Gas were dead, and had been trying to run the Heater scene for a few years now, but the other aliens they were trading with began to get suspicious, so they've been on the run. Turles and Jocha were able to convince them to stick around and become the bargainers for the other aliens due to their strength, and become honorary Heaters in return. Since Mackie and Oil had no other option, they let the two join. So, Turles and Jocha joined the Heaters and began to overtake planets with them, and even managed to discover the Tree of Might, and help take over planets that way as well. Bardock is happy to hear that his daughter overtook the Heaters, and that her mother would be proud of making them a better name than the original Heater cowards they fought years back. Bardock explains the situation of what's been going on to them, and from here, things will line up with how they did in the original part, but just imagine that Jocha is there in the background. Planet Cereal has been a thriving land for a while now, ever since Bardock and Guinea liberated the Heaters from the planet, and Manito managed to bring them all back. The young Granola has been filled in on how the planet has been saved by Saiyans, so he never got into the whole hating Saiyans thing, and even has been training himself as a bounty hunter to try and be heroes like them. The Shigarians also helped repair one of the old Cerulean artifacts, an AI eyepiece named Oatmeal. Manito gave the gift to Granola, which gave him a new friend. That way, he wouldn't become as lonely in the bounty hunter scene. With Oatmeal on his side, Granola managed to become the youngest bounty hunter in the sector, stopping petty thieves and criminals for the Shigarians. Unfortunately, this bounty hunter work caught the attention of the Heaters, and they decided that they would recruit Granola to their cause. Manito curses himself that he didn't hide the planet well enough, and somehow the remaining members of the Heaters managed to find them, and the rest of the Ceruleans, led by Granola, arrive at the ship to defeat these intruders. Turles, Jocha, and the rest of the Crusher Corps step out of the ship, surprised to see that this bounty hunter they heard so much about was the Cerulean that Bardock told them about. Manito asks them what another Saiyan is doing here, and if they have any relation to Bardock at all. Jocha says that she is the daughter of Bardock, and she knows of him from a story her father told her recently. Turles is shocked by this, and is happy that he managed to find more allies to Bardock. He shuts off his scouter, and tells Manito to listen very closely. He may be working with the Heaters, but he's secretly a part of Bardock's rebellion. Planet Vegeta was destroyed a few years back, with Frieza being defeated, and the remaining Saiyans going off to another planet to start a rebellion to take him down. These Ceruleans don't have to join in if they don't want to, but it would be a lot of help. Granola tells Manito that he feels he owes it to Bardock to join up with his rebellion, and he wants to go off with Turles and Jocha to help in any way that he can. Mesili knew that this day would come eventually, and tells Granola to be careful out there, and that she's happy that her son has grown into being a fine hero. Turles is able to relate the plan to Granola that if he just works it out with the Heaters for now, then the group of them can destroy them, and in turn, Frieza once they join back up with Bardock. Granola joins up with the new Heaters, with Turles and Jocha happy to have another member of Bardock's rebellion. Alrighty, and with that, we end this part of the What Affinity retcon. So I'm really sorry that this kind of jumped all over the place for the most part in the video, but just don't worry, once I put the full story series together, I'll make sure to intersplice it so that it makes a lot more sense when you watch it that way. But yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules to check out a retcon video, because those are always a lot of work and not a lot of fun for everybody, but hey, it was fun for me. I'm glad everything worked out. And right before I go, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing patrons for their amazing support. Alrighty, so in the official patron tier, we have Nathan, BBB, Bossmaker, Michelle Wilmez, and Happy Chappy. In the moving up into world tier, we have Patrick Sandelin, John Lister, Boris, Sinchenron92, Oakwoodtree, Ogata Shiba, Monal, Blake Foyer, Matthew Garcia, True Lightning Striker, Semroth, The Boy Swaggy, Faisal Al-Sharif, and Rylan Smith. And in the VIP patron tier, we have Always Zero and Lovin726. And finally, in the God tier, we have Tails Homie 99 and I'm Calver. Thank you, especially you guys. You guys are absolute gods. And with all that, thank you so much for watching, and until we meet again, see you later.